Alright, welcome back to another quick review. I just finished Live Alive. Um, yeah, I feel the need to add context to a lot of these things just so you can get my thoughts going into the review before I say anything. I bought Live Alive back in 2023. It was either late 2022 or early 2023, a couple months after it came out. And I played a bit of it, but just never got back to it. And so in my quest to uh, kill time because job hunting hasn't been successful, unfortunately, and trying to get through my backlog, naturally Live Live came up. And with the Switch 2 coming out recently, I'm like, I'm gonna be using the Switch, just a Nintendo platform, more often. Anyway, so let's just get through Live Live. This game is tiring because I feel like a lot of my issues with video games, just as of recently, has been me trying to 100% video games, I'm realizing now that I just shouldn't do that. It unfortunately came with the territory, especially with playing a whole bunch of the Trails games, a whole bunch of them, not a whole bunch of them, all of the Trails games, as well as playing through Suikoden recently and some other stuff as well. But those are ones that came to mind first. And so I try and go for 100%. So my advice just for RPGs in general: avoid guides. Try to avoid the guides because that'll just make your life way harder and just not as fun. The game just won't be as fun, which is exactly what happened with me. I wasn't using a guide 100%, but I would definitely used it just to make my life a bit easier. And it's just not fun. I would say just go into it blind. It'll be so much better. Obviously, there are some times where a guide will help, like every now and then, as I did use a guide for a couple of games recently, RE4, and I love that game. But I went into that. I think I used a guide for one specific section, and that was about it. I was done. So yeah, avoid a guide because it definitely killed my enjoyment for this game, and that's definitely on me, right? That is a me thing, not a game thing. I think the game overall is really good. I will say, even if the guide thing kind of killed my enjoyment with the game, there were still some sections of the game that I wasn't a fan of. Like it's like Suikoden 1 for me, where um, there's a lot of sections that I don't like. There's not a lot of sections, but there's some portions of this game that I don't like. But there's a portion of this game that are absolute cinema. It makes for a very, very weird balance, right? Um, like for example, because I have like all ranks in all the scenarios. So like for example, my favorite scenario ended up being like the Wild West, the Middle Ages, and Distant Future. Those were just the most fun to me. Whereas my least favorite section was Twilight of Edo, Japan. That section just didn't hit for me as much as it probably would have. Near Future as well didn't hit for me as much, even though the robot fight was cool. Near Future didn't hit for me as much. So yeah, there are some sections of this game that I wasn't a fan of, and some sections of this game that I did like. I will say I love how different each scenario was from each other, both thematically, atmospherically, and gameplay wise. Even if it didn't always land well, like the previous examples, I love how different they were for each other. But at the same time, they all made sense within one story. Um, Especially when you get to um, the final scenario, right? Where it's like these 7 scenarios are cases in which everything went right, in which everybody was not everything, but like everybody was, heroes, and everybody was good, and everybody walked away with different lessons and whatnot. Whereas, the final scenario was like, what if it all went bad? And it led to a sense in the end with with envy, bringing in envy, and just different emotions that I think just overall cultivated really, really well. Um, Now I will say, for me, the final bit of the game didn't land as much because it's very grindy, right? I played the final bit of the game, got I think all of the characters, All the characters back. Did a couple of the dungeons to get ultimate weapons. Got grinded up to like level 20 or something. Got to the final boss, and I still spent an hour and a half, and I was only one attempt. I did the final boss in one attempt, and I spent an hour and a half on this thing. Once again, I think just a lot. I think that also has to do with my enjoyment. That kind of killed my enjoyment just because it was so grindy at the end because of how the game works. I think the game, that aspect of lower level characters throughout the stories works in its advantage, but then you get to the end of the game and it works against it. Which is why, unfortunately, I didn't get the true ending, just because I was so tired. I was so tired. I was so done. I was like, I'm really enjoying the game. Like, I think the game overall is really good. But I got to the end, I was like, man, I'm tired. I can't be bothered. And I went back, and then the normal ending happened, and it was like so anticlimactic. I was like, man. And then I went back and watched the true ending, and I was like, I'm annoyed because the true ending was much better. But yeah, try not to, like I said, try not to go into the game with a guide. Try and go in as blind as possible. That's what kind of killed my enjoyment for this game, as well as part of the reason why I ended up dropping Suikoden 2. Part of the reason, not all of the reason. There was a lot of things about Suikoden 2 I wasn't a fan of, but that was a little bit of the reason. God, that's my phone. Ignore the Pokemon app. And I would say space yourself. This game is short, but it can also feel very, very long. And have some fun because the game is good. The game genuinely is good. It's like an 8.5 out of 10 for me. It's a really good game. It's just there's just certain things about it that just like took my enjoyment away from it, but not enough to overall impact the moments that I did love. Right, the moments that I did love are not impacted by the moments that I didn't. So yeah, Live Alive, 8.5 out of 10 for me. It's finally out of my backlog after 2 years. It's finally done. We're moving on to the other stuff. Yeah. See ya. Bye.